Yeah, so there's two use cases that we've been very public with. There's others that are proprietary and we're still developing on the back end. And to be clear to listeners, we are not an HR AI company. We do custom app engineering. We help a lot of HR teams, but it's not necessarily a platform. But what we had in, I think it was October of last year, certainly Q3, Q4, right in that time frame, the CEO called me and said, "Hey, on Monday," and this was Tuesday, next Monday, we just landed a client. We need to onboard 800 people, and I need you to make a training course and an onboarding program for them. We already had an onboarding program in place, but that was entirely live courses, usually max out of a cohort of 30 or so, just depending on the type. And so I jokingly told him, and then this became our mantra over the past year, is I'm going to AI our way out of this. And I had a conversation with ChatGPT, and I said, my CEO just said this, I need to come up with some asynchronous training in stat. And how do I do that? Traditional L&D teams would take anywhere per module 2 to 5 weeks to develop a technical based module that requires SME input. And that was where we came up with Alan, based on the namesake of the company. And to put it is simply, what Alan did for us in that period of time is, traditionally an engineering leader would record a 30-minute video to onboard someone to a process or a new program. We'd be able to take that video, put it through the custom GPT we developed in about 48 hours or 2 days. And the output of that was all the content that I would need to make a fully immersive, interactive learning module that used the source of truth of the video itself to populate all of that data for us. So there was not weeks of back and forth with the engineering leader to check the data. It was, no, we built almost instantaneously in less than an hour an asynchronous learning module, completely built out. Go back to the SME and say, we need you to review this module. And it blew them away. And what was great is a lot of these were machine learning leaders that we were working with. And so they, of course, loved that we were using AI this rapidly. But that enabled us to go from 2 to 5 weeks processing time per module down to literally an hour. So by Thursday of that week, we had a fully functional onboarding asynchronous program that did not exist about 72 hours before that. And that type of exponential gain allowed us to then rapidly iterate that content. And there's been dozens of different features that have come down the pike. I'll list two. One is we were able to start using synthetic AI voices to replace our engineering leaders. Again, they thought that was hilarious, that they lost their facilitating job. And the purpose of that was, as a user, you wouldn't know the difference between the person and the AI voice. But it improved learning because we had a huge multicultural workforce, so that limited the barrier of accents and things like that getting in the way of the learning process. We could pick regional specific voices. The second is, as a process changed, or as we identified, okay, people aren't picking up this process the way that we're explaining it, we would just go in and change a script and click a button, and then our module was updated. No reshoots from the engineering leader. They were still a human in the loop to make sure the content was correct. And the third piece that has really been the most exciting is, I don't have to go into a meeting and mention something like Addy or any of these other methods once, right? That type of instructional design, PhD level knowledge is embedded in the custom GPT that we created. And it takes things like our Slack onboarding channels and reviews all the content and tells us the way that your new hires are interacting with their managers. Here's where you can make some tweaks in your educational material to mitigate them going to managers and asking these questions. Or it seems that people aren't understanding this. And because we're able to update stuff live, we're pushing updates on our content weekly, if not twice a week. That's the AI use case around talent development that we've been really excited with. That's what we spoke on CNBC on. The second one is, when you onboard thousands of people, they have a lot of questions. In fact, we ended last year with our people ops desk handling 52,000 tickets manually. And that to me, it felt normal, but my understanding is that it's a lot of tickets for an organization. And we developed another alter ego of Alan to not just be a chatbot, but it was the beginning of agentic workflows. Of if someone reached out and they needed to have a password reset, there's ways for us to validate who they are, and then it go in and process that for us. Likewise, it handles all the policy and standard questions, and we hope to eliminate about 60% of those tickets this year. But the other piece that we've been trying to take a new approach on is how do we make it feel more like a AI teammate? So we started to train it on coaching, on how to interact with managers, how to do better quality work when you're doing engineering. So there's a lot of different personas that go into that version of Alan that we're excited to see the outcomes, and we're going to be sharing those case studies in the near future.